Is Brad Treliving getting ready to pull the trigger on a huge blockbuster trade? Is the Leafs defense holding them back? Or is it simply the goaltending? Welcome back to Leafs Digest. My name is Darius Domingues, and we're going to get into all of that and more in this video. All right, guys, the Leafs. What is there to say about the Leafs? Great win on Saturday. Did not look like they were going to win that game, but they pulled it out. And with the overtime winner from John Tavares, absolutely fantastic. But all in all, even with that effort, the Leafs, in my opinion, are off to a slow start this season, okay? I mean, up until Saturday, the Leafs had yet to win a game where someone not named Austin Matthews did not score a hat trick. You know, like Matthews had to score back-to-back hat tricks in order for them to win. This was their first win without that effort from Austin Matthews. Not saying he wasn't good. He was fantastic, hit the post early on as well. But is there a little bit of panic in Leafs land? I mean, some of the efforts and stuff we've seen throughout the last, or the first 5 games of the year, it seems like the same old song and dance. And is it time for Brad Treliving? I mean, he made some great moves in the offseason. We'll certainly get into that. But is it time for Treliving to pull the trigger on a huge defensive, play or goaltender, maybe even another defensive forward? I mean, reaction all over, even on Twitter, as you can see here. The Leafs are built like, this team is never going to win, and there's no trade or coach available that's going to change it. It is not 4 or 5 games into the season. It's year 8 with these guys, I assume he means. I'm over it. And honestly, as much as he's spitting facts, maybe we should preach a little bit of patience. I mean, if you look back to last year, the Leafs started off very slow in October. Okay, we were all calling for everyone's heads. Nobody was really playing well, and they looked like they were going to miss the playoffs. And then obviously that did not happen. They ended up, playing pretty well. But has Treliving built a good enough team, in your opinion? Do you really think that this team is good enough? Like, is this a Stanley Cup contending defense? Are we really sure about that? I mean, he's made some great moves. Personally, I love the Domi move, and he's finally arrived in the game against Tampa. You see what he can do. He can pull out big moments. He's still a very skilled and gritty forward, and he can pull out big moments when you need it, when your top guys haven't been able to pull it off and get the win. What is there to be said about Ryan Reaves? Ryan Reaves, great addition to the team. He adds a little bit of, obviously, grit. He can fight, and he makes everyone a little bit taller. When he's out on the ice, everyone seems like, they're not taking any crap from other teams, which I like. I think he's been a really good addition and something they've needed for a long time. And as we found out last week, Bertuzzi was playing through, some minor injuries, and who isn't in the NHL season, right? These guys get hurt all the time. But I mean, he's looked great as well, in my opinion. He's going to get going. He just needs some time. And it was nice to see Keefe, mix and match the lines to get things going on Saturday. But I think some more time on the top line will do Bertuzzi good. I mean, Matthews and Marner play a really fast-paced, intense style, offensive style, and Bertuzzi just has to get used to it. But I love what he brings to the team. So great additions from Treliving there. No complaints on the forward side of things. I think they're built pretty well up front. But with that being said, to move along, does the D need a tune-up? Is there something that can be said or done about the defense? I mean, if you look at this defense compared to other teams Brad Treliving has had, it doesn't really stack up. And if you really look at the Leafs roster, you got Morgan Rielly and TJ Brody, which, I think that pairing should stay. They did well during the COVID season as well. But when you move along, I mean, Klingberg and McCabe, I'm not a huge fan of Klingberg. We'll get into that in a second. And then Giordano's looked all right this year, I think. But Liljegren has to take a step as well. And I mean, Brad Treliving is not one to look at his roster and kind of, stand pat. He has historically acquired Hamilton, Hanifin, Uyghur, Anderson, Zadorov, and Hamonic, all via trade, not draft or, developing. So Leafs fan Zay here says, I highly doubt he stands pat with what we have right now, which I kind of agree with. This is not a Stanley Cup winning caliber defense, in my opinion. I think most of you would agree with that. But if we really break it down, I mean, they got Klingberg as a power play guy. I feel like they already had that in Morgan Rielly. Morgan Rielly is going to have to change his playing style a little bit. He's not going to get those power play minutes. Klingberg, he gets the puck through to the net, and that's all great. But defensively, he's like Erik Karlsson 2.0. I don't think you can rely on him. Jake McCabe goes for a lot of big hits, sometimes gets late, out of position. Klingberg is the last man back. I do not feel safe with that. That is not a good thing to have. But, offensively, he is a good player. So if he can, find his step and, really turns it on, then maybe it is very good for the Leafs. But I'm not a huge fan of that. Not a huge fan. And another person or player that I'm not a huge fan of this season is Timothy Liljegren. I think he's got to take a bigger step. He's had some huge and horrible turnovers in the first couple games of this year, and he just hasn't stood out. He just hasn't stood out like he's taken a step this year. And I really want him to take that step. He needs to be able to play at a high level at the NHL level with confidence. He's not a prospect anymore. I think he's like 24, 25 years old. He's got to come in and be like a second pairing, bona fide second pairing guy for the Leafs. He just has to, okay? And you have to be able to have confidence in that. I think Giordano has looked great this year, blocking shots. He's great on the penalty kill, and he looks like he's full of energy. He changed his stick color. I know that's a thing for players. If you look good, you feel good type thing. So I don't know, maybe that has something to do with it. But at 40 or 41 years old, Giordano is killing it. I love what he's brought so far for the first part of the season. And he's not really being relied on too heavily, which I like, because he is obviously older and the kilometers are going to add up on him. So here's the thing with the Leafs, okay? Treliving likes, and we've used the word so much already since the offseason, snot. He likes to bring snot into his lineups. Just some, not dirty players, but gritty players, like Domi and Bertuzzi, Reeves, these guys that kind of just stir it up. Create some trouble. Create some problems for the other team. So if we take a look here, Brad Treliving said he wanted snot in his lineup, and he went out and got the snottiest son of a guns on the market. And that's only on forward, but the Leafs just need a tough D-man or two, and these Leafs will be as snotty as a cold winter day in kindergarten. Thanks for Roberts and Tux for that. Pretty funny. And they are spitting facts. The Leafs need some more snot and some more grittiness on the back end. They did that with the front, with the top or the bottom six, I should say, and adding to the top six as well. They need more of it in the team, on defense. The defense is not mean enough. I love what Jake McCabe has brought to the team. He is simply not mean enough for that. Enough with the defense. There are some other issues with the Leafs, okay? And it's a glaring issue that we saw on Saturday. Is there possibly a goaltending controversy? Is Samsonov good enough to be a starting goaltender? Is Samsonov potentially an issue, a liability now? That should be interesting to watch. In my opinion, Woll should absolutely get the net. Samsonov so far this year has played himself out of a starter's position. He has not played well to start a year. He's certainly not injured. It must be just a mental thing. He's not getting in his groove. He's letting a couple tough goals. And I think Woll looked fantastic. The defense allowed so many good opportunities against Tampa on Saturday, and Woll stood tall. He did not allow a single goal, okay? But let's take a look here at, some memes for Woll as well, The awesome office meme, corporate needs you to find the differences between this pitcher and this pitcher. They're the same pitcher, and it's Joseph Woll and a brick wall. Come on, guys. It's hilarious. But I think Joseph Woll has played himself into the starting position here in Toronto, if you ask me. He looks so poised, and Domi had some great things to say about him as well, but we'll have that in a future video, so stay tuned for that. But great praise from his teammates as well. And I think he's just he hasn't really lucked into the spot. It's not like Samsonov completely just lost it and now they have to default put, Woll into the starter position. He has played well. He's outperformed the other goaltender. He should get the starter spot until he loses it. They should absolutely run with Joseph Woll. He looks great. For my money, he should absolutely be the Leafs' number one. But here's the issue. If Samsonov cannot even be a serviceable goaltender to come in behind Woll, is that something the Leafs have to look at now? Their goaltending situation is not great. They have a lot of really good prospects, but they're not there yet. Is it something Brad Treliving has to look at? Maybe acquiring another goaltender, another backup goaltender. Samsonov's going to want a lot of money going into next year too. A lot of question marks, and you can't have the perfect team, but I know Brad Treliving is not, there's no way he's happy with this exact roster. So let me know what you guys think about the defense, the goaltending, and the offense so far throughout the first 5 games. We're heading into Washington tomorrow night to watch the Leafs. It should be a win. Washington has not been playing great this year. Woll's going to get the start. It should be interesting to see how things play out if they allow a lot of chances. So, again, Let me know what you think about all those things. Please check out our next video. It's going to be an absolute banger. And click around the screen and you can watch some of our other content. My name is Darius Domingues, and this has been Leafs Digest.